Hey YouTube, this is Yirmiyahu Weeps, and this is my revised creed. I believe in Yahweh, the almighty loving Father, Mother, or Parent, the source and central primacy of all that is, was, or ever will be, the one who is greater than all, the master of both life and death, both good and evil, supremely sovereign, absolutely unique, all-caring and intimately loving, all-giving, separate from anything impure or less than himself, forgiving, perfect, complete and the height of maturity, purposeful, timeless or eternal, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present, all-wise, all-truthful, all-good, all-just, merciful, invisible, immortal and undying, beyond human, in absolute complete control, awesome, beyond comprehension, untemptable, creative, precious and beautiful, faithful, the passionate and compassionate Elohim of peace and wholeness, our only ultimate powerful authority, the mightiest warrior and protector, the great helper, nourisher, provider, liberator, and satisfier, our refuge, rescue, comfort, and redemption, the ultimate creator of everything other than himself, the maker of the heavens and the earth, both the seen and the unseen, the all in all, who, from the very first, planned to build his house, his home, his family, making a beautiful, wonderful environment for the children he would have. So, in a beginning, which would be the beginning of time, in 6 days he created, formed, filled, and separated between, which would be the beginning of space, light, the entire electromagnetic radiation spectrum, which would be the beginning of energy, the heavens, including all atmospheres, gases, and liquids, along with solid matter, including all the stars, planets, moons, and other celestial phenomena, to be for signs and for the days and festivals of Yahweh, and to mark the passing of time. The earth, the land, and all plant life, each kind of sea life, flying animals, and great reptiles, each kind of land animal, domestic and wild, and as his crowning achievement, the summit of his creation, he formed Adam and built Hawa, making them together in his image, and commanded them to be fruitful and multiply, and to rule over and care for the animals, and use and steward over the earth for their benefit. And he united them in sexual union, creating the first recorded marriage, and through their sexual union they conceived a new life, a new human being, a new person beginning at the moment of conception. And in this way he gave them offspring, all of mankind coming from them, all to be in his image, to be his representation. And after making Adam and Hawa, he ceased, kneeling down and gifting the seventh day, the Shabbat, making it a special day of ceasing toil and work, and resting for his children, a perpetual sign and reminder of their relationship with him and his with them for all time, an anniversary of sorts, a day determined by the moon, like the other Moedim, that indicates our Creator's sovereign relationship with his children. And Yahweh made a covenant with Adam, to freely eat from all the kinds of trees except one. And although Adam disobeyed Yahweh, and with dysfunction entering in, Adam and Hawa began dying, they and their children were not doomed. Even though he chose to disobey, it happened according to plan, and they were given the promise and reassurance that their own offspring would come out victoriously over that which was against them. That promise was continued through Noah, whom Yahweh rescued from the flood, and made a covenant to never again destroy all life with a flood. Through Shem, through Abraham, with whom he made a special covenant or agreement for him and his descendants to greatly increase and greatly bless all peoples, and be given certain land. Through Yitzhak, through Yaakov, through Yehudah, even through the oppressions of slavery, when Yahweh delivered children of his that he chose for a special purpose, to be a light to the nations, the people of his promise, from slavery, cruelty, and oppression, giving to them his Torah, which would be the kingdom rules and guidelines for this covenant, speaking to them his 10 orders, and giving the rest of his Torah through Moshe, and making a very special covenant with them, before guiding them to the land that he swore to give them, with the promise to send a spokesman like Moshe to guide them. I believe that his Torah, his teachings and instructions, are crucial and beneficial, being applicable in personal, specific, national, and universal ways, and are all about our relationship with him and with each other, and reveal who he is, his character, which is love. The most important instructions being, listen carefully and respond, O Yisrael. Yahweh, your ultimate powerful authority. Yahweh is the only one. And all of you will love and be entirely devoted to Yahweh, your ultimate powerful authority, with all of your mind, heart, and will, and with all that you think, with all of the entirety of who you are, and with all of your strength and all that you do, along with love your fellow human being as you love yourself. These are further elaborated in the 10 orders. Quote, I am Yahweh, your ultimate powerful authority, who migrated you out of the land of oppressions, which would be Mitzrayim, commonly known as Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Other powerful authorities will not exist for you above or in my presence. You will not make for yourself a sculpture or any resemblance of that which is in the skies above, or which is in the land below, or which is in the waters below the land. You will not bow down to them, and you will not be made to serve them. Because I, Yahweh, your ultimate powerful authority, am an actively passionate powerful authority, persistently attentive and devoted, intolerant of rivalry, and requiring your exclusive devotion, responding to the wrongs of fathers by dealing with children to the 3rd and 4th generations of those who reject me, but doing perpetual, loyal covenant love to the 1000th generation to those who love me and follow my instructions. You will not obliterate, by making substitutions for, misrepresenting, or slandering, the name, which would include the character and reputation, of Yahweh, your ultimate powerful authority, because truly Yahweh will not leave the one unpunished who obliterates by making substitutions for, misrepresenting, or slandering his name. Remember the ceasing and resting day to set it apart as special. 6 days you may labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a time of ceasing and resting, which would be Shabbat, devoted to Yahweh, your ultimate powerful authority. On that day you will not do any work, especially the work done by Yeshua HaMashiach, but it would also include anything done to earn income by anyone, or labor done for gain, but life-saving activities would be exempt. You or your son or your daughter or your male servant or your female servant, and those male and female servants would be near the equivalent of employees, or your animals, or the stranger who is with you. Because in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. So Yahweh knelt down and gifted the ceasing and resting day, and separated it, the ceasing and resting day being the Shabbat. Give weight and respect, appreciation, honor, and importance to your father and your mother, and that father and mother would ultimately be Yahweh, because he's both father and mother, but it also applies to human parents, so that your days are prolonged upon the land which Yahweh, your ultimate powerful authority, is giving you. You will not murder or unjustly take the life of a human being, and that's literally shatter or break in pieces a human being. You will not have sex or be intimately unified with another man's wife or another woman's husband, or be unfaithful to yours. You will not take that which belongs to another, especially by deception or in secrecy, without their knowledge and consent. You will not be an obliterating by making substitutions for, misrepresenting, or slandering witness against your fellow human being. You will not desire with the intent to possess your fellow person's house. You will not desire with the intent to possess your fellow man's wife or woman's husband, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your fellow human being. While trying to follow his instructions doesn't rescue any of us, the applicable guidelines are still needed and in effect, the covenant having been renewed or made new, and reveal our need for redemption. Also, at some future point in time, the statements made by Almighty Yahweh will be the reality of behavior for his children, since whatever Yahweh says will happen is more sure than any fact. The regulations include not consuming blood or eating animals that are not considered food, such as pork or pig products, shellfish, catfish, octopus, rodent, rabbit, snake, horse, maggot, dung beetle, etc. Not having sex with someone or anything outside the guidelines given in Scripture, so that would be not with a near relative, someone of the same gender, another person's spouse, an animal, a woman when she's having her period, both a woman and her daughter, a prostitute or for money, rape, as well as children or dead people. Keeping oneself from all non-Yahweh instructed religious practices. So any religious or worship practices that Yahweh has not instructed, that you would keep yourself from doing that. Being honest and fair in business and interrelational practices. And wearing tzitzit to remind oneself of Yah's instructions and to identify as one of Yahweh's people. That promise of future victory and redemption was continued on through King David, with whom Yahweh made a covenant to continue kingship continually with his offspring. Through King Shlomo, through the promise of a new covenant told to Yirmiyahu, in which Yahweh would bring children of his to their promised land, and he would write his Torah in their hearts and minds, in a still future fulfillment. And even though the covenant was violated too many times, and Yahweh divorced them, he promised to give them a new or renewed covenant, to unite with them again. And those promises finally found their fulfillment in the Yehudi man Yeshua HaMashiach, the son of Adam, the fulfilled image of Yahweh, the living Torah, Ha-Nabi of Yahweh, Kohen HaGadol, Ha-Netzer, the vine, the way, the truth, and the life, the light of the world, our leader and ruler, who, according to the plan that Yahweh had before the world began, came into existence according to Ruach HaKodesh, by being conceived by Yosef and Miriam, born to be the promised Mashiach ben Yosef, the suffering servant Messiah, immersed by Yochanan, being declared the fathered-mothered Son of Elohim at that time, and determined so by his resurrection, and becoming the fulfilled express image of Yahweh, lived the Torah perfectly, teaching the Torah of Yahweh, and proclaiming the good news of the now and soon coming kingdom, or ruling, of Yahweh over all mankind and over all the earth. He was betrayed, abandoned, taken by his adversaries, and tortured to death by shredding or flogging, and brutal execution, nailed to a stauros, which would be the stake or cross, bearing the penalty for the separation from Yahweh and the wrongs of all mankind, just as wrong, error, and death came about through the one man Adam and his wife Chawah, all according to Yahweh's great plan. His body was buried in a tomb, and he went into a grave, or hell and grave being the same thing. At the end of 3 nights and 3 days in the tomb, Yahweh brought him back to life, and he rose from the dead. He ascended into the sky, or heaven, to present himself to Abba Yahweh, and after coming back to help and instruct his student followers, friends, ascended again, and is the right-hand man of Yahweh the Father, Mother, Almighty. And he will come back as Hamashiach ben David, the king of the Yehudim, to set the world straight. I believe in the importance of the Torah, the Nebi'iym, the Ketubiym, and the Besuras of the renewed covenant, that we as believers get grafted into the new covenant Yahweh made with Yisrael, and of obeying Yahweh's directions and following his instructions, out of love and devotion to him, and love and caring for each other, because it's the sensible right thing to do, which leads to true freedom. I believe in the great love which Yahweh has for all of us. Excuse me. The teshubah of returning to Yahweh and His covenant, forsaking what's wrong and coming back to the path of life. The forgiveness of straying from Abba Yahweh and His ways. The gift of Ruach HaKodesh, and the love of the family of Yahweh coming from Him. I believe in the importance of Yahweh's 10 appointed festivals and their portrayal of His great plan. Every day, each day being a gift of life from our Creator, though it's not one of the 10 special festivals. HaKodesh, or the new moon, when a new month begins, seen by the first sliver of the new moon. Shabbat, or the Sabbath, a quadrilunar occurring day of ceasing and resting from work, particularly the work done by Yeshua HaMashiach, and including any work done for monetary gain, both for oneself and others. This day is a reminder and recognition of our Creator and His creating, and our covenant relationship with Him. Pesach, or Passover, which means Pesach means to pass over, when Yahweh rescued children of His from oppressions and gave His Son Yeshua as His and our sacrificial lamb, paying the penalty for the errors of all people who have ever lived and who will ever live. Hag HaMatzot, or HaCherut, or the festival of unleavened bread or freedom, when His Son Yeshua rose from the dead and presented Himself before Abba Yahweh, becoming the firstborn from the dead, fulfilling the part of the plan of Yahweh that will bring redemption, restoration, and freedom to all people, all of Yahweh's children. Omer Reshit, or Reshit Katzir, or first fruit sheaf, or beginning of the harvest, which is an illustration of Yeshua being presented before Abba Yahweh, occurring during HaCherut. Shavuot, or HaKatzir, or Bikarim, which in English means weeks, or the festival of harvest, or first fruits, commonly known as Pentecost, when Yahweh gave His very character, His Torah, to children of His, and later gave His essence, His Spirit, to children of His from the tribe of Yehudah and beyond. Yom Teruah, or the day of shofar blasts and shouting, when Yeshua will return as the conquering king, rescuing all those that He claims and defeating everything and everyone opposed to Yahweh and His people. Yom HaKippurim, or the day of coverings, when Yahweh Himself will be with us, and we will all bend our knee in willing submission and draw close to Yahweh. Sukkot, or Hag HaAsif, or booths, tabernacles, or tents, or the festival of ingathering, when Yeshua first came, and when Yahweh will gather His children to Himself, and He will dwell with them. Shemoneh Atzeret, or the last great day or epoch, with everything better than good, and Yahweh and our big brother Yeshua loving us for eternity. I believe in the faithfulness of Yahweh to see all of us through to the end and a new beginning, rescuing all people from all time, every single one, and He will write His Torah in our hearts and minds. The resurrections of all people, and the rebirth in a Ruach body, and the just restoring judgments of the living and the dead. I believe that when we die, it's like we're asleep, until Yahweh has all of us woken up, to be resurrected and justly judged, to restore us and bring us to our optimal good, and be face to face to Him. I believe that He won't leave wrongs unpunished. There will be justice, and that He will purify and cleanse us all of anything impure, harmful, or false, painful or uncomfortable though it may be, and that He will do this for most people through the lake of fire and sulfur, the second death being the death of sin, error, wrongdoing, corruption, and death, and that when He's done, it will be more than worth it. I believe that everything that we go through now, whoops, just lost my place. I believe that everything that we go through now, including suffering and death, will be redeemed, that He has good purposes and reasons for everything He does and allows, even if it is beyond our understanding of what all of those are, but they include building trust and character, growth, conforming us into the image of Mashiach, sharing in his sufferings, which is a huge honor, correction, giving us knowledge of and illustrating the character of Yahweh and what is contrary to him, understanding and appreciating not only what is bad and evil, but even more, goodness, beauty, and love, increasing and deepening sympathy and compassion, building knowledge and skills needed for the next life, benefiting others, and revealing our deep and intense need for him and his ruling. And that his great plan will prevail, which is to bring to maturity all of creation, and then to create anew, and to conform us into the likeness of his Son, which is his image, and to reveal the ultimate, the full essence and substance of Yahweh. I believe in the good news that Yeshua preached, the now and soon coming kingdom and ruling of Abba Yahweh over all people and over all the earth, and that someday in the future he will come down and create a new heavens and earth, a completely new creation replacing the old, greatly surpassing the first, and will dwell with us in the new creation and be with us forever. And he will do away with wrongdoing, evil, suffering, and death, and in good everlasting life for all people. So that's my creed. I think that's everything. So thank you for watching. Yahweh bless you and be with you. And have a very good day, night, evening, morning, life, millennium, decade, year, moment, second, millisecond. Thanks. Bye.